There are a lot of misconceptions surrounding sexually transmitted infections, one of which is that you need to have genital sex to spread STDs. However, skin to skin contact of various kinds can lead to the transfer of bacterial and viral infections. What about kissing? Is this type of sexual contact enough to infect an individual? The answer might surprise you. So, can kissing spread sexually transmitted infections? Yes, you can get an STD from kissing. While it's considered lower risk compared to penetrative activities like vaginal and anal sex, STDs can still easily be transmitted from one individual to another. It just depends on the specific STD in question. Transmission can happen in two ways via sores and saliva. Specifically, herpes simplex virus type 1 or HSV1, which applies to most people with oral herpes, and human papillomavirus or HPV can spread through kissing. It's also possible for a syphilis infection to spread through kissing since this bacterial infection requires mere contact with a syphilis sore. It's important to note that HSV1 is not technically an STD because even children sharing drinks, food, or utensils can spread it. However, HSV1 can be spread to the genitals or anal regions via oral sex. Cytomegalovirus or CMV is another viral infection that can spread through kissing. Infected individuals often display no symptoms. However, it can sometimes look like the flu with symptoms such as fever, loss of appetite, fatigue, muscle aches, a sore throat, and swollen lymph nodes. Until recently, it was believed that gonorrhea couldn't spread through kissing. However, recent studies have debunked this, although more research is needed. So, kissing can be considered a higher risk activity when it comes to these particular STDs. Out of the various infectious diseases that can spread through kissing, the greater risk lies with oral herpes. Conversely, there are sexually transmitted diseases that you're at a lower risk of spreading or catching through kissing. These include chlamydia, a bacterial infection, and HIV, a viral infection, which cannot be transmitted to another individual via saliva. HIV, for instance, is more commonly spread via other bodily fluids like blood, genital fluids like semen, and breast milk. Hepatitis is another disease that cannot spread through saliva. Additionally, trichomoniasis is not transmitted through kissing. This STD is passed through semen and vaginal fluids carrying the parasite. While you're not likely to acquire these STDs through kissing, if you're engaging in other sexual activities, you're still at risk. This highlights the importance of using barrier methods for sexual activity that can allow these STDs to spread. Dental dams and condom use are both options. If you use sex toys, be sure to clean them thoroughly before and after every use. These approaches can help you not only steer clear of common STIs, but also aid you in preventing pregnancy. Now, what are the symptoms of oral herpes? If you think you might have developed oral herpes transmitted through kissing, look for symptoms like redness or swelling at the infection site. Fluid filled blisters on the lips or under the nose. These are very contagious. Blisters that eventually turn into cold sores, sores that crust over and heal, a sore throat, and swollen lymph nodes. If you experience symptoms, it's vital to cease all mouth to mouth contact, all sexual contact really, with other individuals and perhaps see a healthcare provider so you can be evaluated and, if necessary, treated. Oral herpes is typically managed with over the counter treatments or with antiviral medications. The healthcare provider might suggest topical treatments like creams or ointments to be applied directly to the area with sores since they can be uncomfortable and even painful. Some individuals choose not to see their provider because cold sores will go away on their own in a few weeks. There are also at home treatments like gargling salt water for a sore throat or applying ice or heat to sores to soothe them. However, do note that even if your symptoms get better, this does not mean that you no longer carry an infection. You can still spread oral herpes through kissing or oral sex, leading to genital herpes. Now, a note on oral herpes versus oral HPV. Some people use these terms interchangeably, but they're not the same thing. Oral HPV is caused by the human papillomavirus, while oral herpes is caused by the herpes simplex virus or HSV. Well, there are more than 100 strains of HPV, which is one of the reasons why it's so difficult to stop the spread. There are two strains of the herpes simplex virus. Most commonly, HSV1 is what leads to oral cold sores. HSV2 can spread through kissing, although it's not very common as it is typically around the genital or anal regions. However, depending on sexual practices, you can get type 1 in the genital region and type 2 in the oral region. So, how can you avoid getting an STI from kissing? The most obvious warning sign of oral STIs is cold sores. If you see open sores, you should absolutely avoid all sexual contact, including oral contact like kissing, since this is when you are the most contagious. However, even if you don't see an active cold sore, you or the other person could still be infected and thus contagious. Beyond looking for sores and other symptoms, the best thing you can do is only engage in sexual contact with people you trust. Foster an open line of communication about sexual health, including your history and any previous or current infections. In addition, it helps to stay in a monogamous relationship. Perhaps most importantly, it's also a smart idea for both parties to undergo STD testing before engaging in sex with each other for the first time and also periodically throughout the year. This is the most effective way to determine if both individuals are healthy before you partake in any direct contact. Remember, many people with STDs show no symptoms. Sometimes symptoms won't show up for months or years. Healthcare providers are here to help you engage in safe sexual contact and avoid long term complications. Learn more about eNational Testing's various STD tests or find a testing center near you.